video. So we discussed about the introductory part of the solid state chemistry, significance of the solid state chemistry, and things that we are going to discuss in the under the heading of the solid state chemistry. And next one is the difference between that is solid state and other physical states. And next that's the factors that are the responsible for the solid state of the given material. And next one is the solids are classified based on the arrangement of the material particles. Point groups in the molecule. Disciplined arrangement, orderly arrangement, regular arrangement, crystalline structures, irregular arrangement, short range ordered arrangement, indisciplined arrangement. Such solids are called as the amorphous solids. Crystalline solids are anisotropic solids, and whereas the amorphous solids are isotropic solids. Crystalline solids are true solids, whereas amorphous solids are pseudo solids. They are also called as the supercooled liquids. Glass is an example of the supercooled liquid. Slowly with time it flows down. The upper part becomes thin. The down part, bottom part becomes, that is, thick. The thickness of the glass gradually changes. The upper part becomes thin and thin and thin. The lower part becomes, the bottom part becomes thick. So this is the first classification of the solids are made based on that is the arrangement pattern of the material particles. Point groups, they are called as the point group. They may be atoms or molecules or ions, whatever it is, that is the arrangement order of the material particles are taken into regular arrangement, irregular arrangement. So that is the first classification. I told the basis for the first classification, that is classification of the solids into crystalline solids and amorphous solids. The second part is the second classification. Now we are going to discuss about the second classification, second type of classification. The second classification is based on the nature of the material particles that are present, constituent particles. The nature of the constituent particles in the solids are taken into consideration. So based on the nature of the constituent particles, solids are classified into the four types. That is, particles may be, the material is solid is formed due to the aggregation of that is material particles. They may be molecules, they may be ions in case of the ionic compounds, and there may be the metal atoms, and there may be that's the atoms. They are classified into the four types based on the constituent particles that are responsible for the formation of the solid. The solids are classified that are around us are classified into four types. That is, now I am taking the solids classification. Now, the two crystalline solids, not the amorphous solids. Amorphous solids gone. There is no scientific, we are not bothered about the amorphous solids. Only we bothered about the crystalline solid. Crystalline solids are further classified into 4 types. Sorry, this is not solids. Crystalline solids, remember, they are classified into the 4 types. What are those 4 types? That is the first, which are made up of molecules. The constituent particles are molecules. You take sugar, the crystal is made up of the sugar molecules. You take the fructose, the sugar is made of the glucose, fructose, these are all made up of their corresponding molecules. So you take the carbon dioxide, that is solid carbon dioxide is made up of the carbon dioxide molecules. So sulfur, S8 molecule, the solid is crystalline, that is made up of the S8 molecules. The molecular units are present, arranged in a particular order, particular sequence. So molecular solids. First is the molecular solids. First category of, they are called as the molecular solids. They are made up of molecules. Molecules are the point groups. Remember, molecules are the point groups. That is and here the molecular solids are, the second category is the ionic solids. Molecular solids, ionic solids, where that the crystal lattice is made up of, the crystal is made up of, that is the corresponding cations and anions. For example, you know that is the sodium chloride is made up of the, not sodium chloride molecules, they are made up of the sodium ions and chloride ions. It is nothing but the aggregation of the sodium cations and anions, that is the sodium ion and chloride ion. That is ionic solids. The solid which is made up of the, that is ions are called as, their ions are arranged in a particular order. Each sodium is surrounded by the 6 chloride ions. Each chloride ion is further surrounded by the 6 sodium ions. Face-centered cubic structure. That is and ionic solids. Here the ions are the point groups. Constituent particles are ions. Ionic solids. Ions are the oppositely charged ions are the, that is constituent particles. Particles. Here the molecules are the constituent particles, I told you. Carbon tetrachloride, all these things, second category. Third category are, that is metallic solids. They are called as the metallic solids. So what are the point groups? That is particles, constituent particles, how the metal is, the bulk of the metal is made up of, that is aggregation of the metal atoms. This is, second thing is the metal atoms. Metal atoms are associated with the metallic solids. See, strictly speaking, not the metal atoms. So that is the positively charged metal ions, they are called as the kernels, and free electrons, valence electrons are the constituent particles. So that is something about that is third category of the metallic solids. So molecular solids and ionic solids, metallic solids. So the particles are changing, constant particles are changing. That is the for last one is the covalent solids. Covalent solids. They are also called as the network solids. Three-dimensional network solids. The giant molecules are present here. Here, constant particles are. What are the constant particles? Atoms are the constant particles. So, that is nothing but the diamond, graphite, the atoms are covalently bonded. Diamond, graphite, silica, sand, SiO2. That is, this is nothing but the silicon dioxide, polymeric material. That is the other one is the silicon, etc. These are all come under the silicon carbide, carborundum. Silicon carbide has a three-dimensional network. These are all considered as that is come under the category of covalent solids. That is giant molecules are present. Here, that is molecular solids. That is first category are called as the molecular solids, where the crystals are made up of. I told you that is the sugar is a, sucrose is a crystalline solid. That is come under the category of glucose, fructose, and that is the sucrose. All these things come under urea. All these things come under the category of that is molecular solids. That is the solid is made up of. In the solid, that is molecules are, the corresponding molecules are arranged in a particular fashion. So now we are classifying based on that is particle that are responsible for that is a solid that are responsible for the formation of the lattice, or that is the crystalline solid. Molecular solids, ionic solids. This is sodium chloride. Anything you can take that is a magnesium oxide. That is potassium nitrate. All these things come there. Here, that is your iodine crystals. Molecular solids. That is carbon dioxide. That is sugar. That is glucose. All these things come under the category of the molecular side. HCl. You have to take in the form of solid. HCl. Argon. Your SE8. So these are all that is molecular solids. And next one is the metallic solids. So example is that is copper. Any metal you can take, silver, that is zinc and gold, iron. So there are plenty of D block elements. You can take the S and P block elements, and that is and 1A and 1B, 1A and 2A elements. Alkaline metals and alkaline earth metals, and transition elements, inner transition elements. They all come under few elements of the P block elements. That is the aluminium, all these things that come under the category of the metals. There are many metals and the metallic structure. In the first year you discussed about the metallic structure, chemical bonding, the metallic structure, nature of the metallic structure. And covalent solids are, that is network solids. That is giant molecules are formed. Three-dimensional network is formed. Mostly we say that is the atoms are involved and the covalent bond formation is taking place. They are connected each other through the covalent bond. Therefore they are called as the covalent solids. So if you come to the molecular solids, the molecular solids are further classified into three types. Molecular solids are further classified into three types. I told you, I defined the molecular solid, that is the crystalline solids are further classified into four types based on the nature of the constituent particles. Molecular solids, ionic solids, metallic solids, covalent solids. Molecular solids are made up of, that is, molecules, discrete molecules. So these are further classified into the three types. Molecular solids, non-polar molecules, non-polar molecular solids, non-polar molecular solids. The molecule has no polarity at all. So molecular solids, take the I2 SC8, right? I2 SC8, that is P4. Molecular solids, carbon dioxide, no polarity, CCl4, argon, that is solid nitrogen, that is solid hydrogen. So these are all, we are talking about the solids. So the hydrogen may be in the gaseous state at the room temperature, but I am talking about the solid hydrogen, that is here, that is, these are all the non-polar molecules. That is the polarity, no polarity. The bonds are formed between the two similar atoms. So here, iodine, this is the all come under the category of the non-polar molecules. Non-polar, this thing. No polarity. Next one is the polar molecular solids. So molecular solids are further classified into three types. Non-polar molecular solids, where there is no charge separation on the molecule. Second one is the polar molecular solid. It is a molecular compound, but polarity is separated, charge is separated. So anything that you can take the HCl, it is a polar molecule. You see, it is a molecular compound, polar molecule. This is positive, this is negative. That is the bond is formed, covalent bond is formed between the two that is the different atoms which have the considerable electronegative difference. The charges are separated. So that is polar molecular solids, that is H2O. So that's we will take the word H2O into other this thing category. Anything we can take. So you take the sulfur dioxide. You take the sulfur dioxide. All are polar compounds. That is, you can take the word HBr. That is, you can take the chloroform. So any this thing you can take the, that is they come under the category of the polar molar, this one. They have the dipole moment. They should have the dipole moment. Because of the polarity in the bond, dipole moment is generated. And third category of this is, that is hydrogen bonding. Hydrogen bonding molecular solids. So what we are doing today, we are further classifying the crystalline solids. Further classifying the crystalline solids based on the nature of the constituent particles in the solids. The constituent particles can be molecules. They are called as molecular solids. Constituent particles can be ions. They are called as ionic solids. The constituent particles can be metal atoms. They are called as the metallic solids. The constituent particles can be atoms, and their atoms are that is linked to each other through the covalent bond. Such solids are called as the covalent solids or giant molecules, that is the network solids. Diamond, graphite, all these things come under the, if I say the diamond, you can imagine the structure of the diamond. It has a three-dimensional structure. Each carbon is further connected to the tetrahedrally connected to the 4 other carbon atoms. And in graphite, each carbon atom is connected to the 3 other carbon atoms through covalent bonds. This is repeated. So that is 4 types. And further, molecules can be polar molecules, molecules can be non-polar molecules, molecules can have the ability to form the hydrogen bonding. So, based on taking those things into consideration, that is, molecular solids are further classified into molecular solids which are made up of non-polar molecules, and molecular solids which are made up of polar molecules. They have the dipole moment. Here no more dipole moment. Molecules have no dipole moment. Vectorial sum becomes 0 here. No polarity, or even the polar bond is present, COC, that is vectorial sum becomes because of the structure, vectorial sum becomes the 0. So without any dipole moment, that is non-polar. Polar, that is they have the dipole moment. Polar bonds are present, polar covalent bonds are present in the molecule. Due to this, permanent dipoles are separated. That is positive negative charges. Now, this is many things we can write what is there as a polar of this one. And here, that is you can take the ICL. That is, this is negatively charged, this is a positively charged, is a molecular compound. That is what, this is the poles are separated. So now, hydrogen bonding molecular solid. They are molecular solids. But molecules have the ability to form they can establish the intermolecular, intermolecular hydrogen bonding between the molecules. That is this. The water come under this category. Water, right? That is ammonia. That is HF. Well-known examples. That is these are the molecular compounds. This is water molecules. Ammonia molecular compound. This is this one. But they have the ability to form the intermolecular hydrogen bonding, that is ET, ethyl, OH, ethyl alcohol. Here also this is it has the ability to form the, like water, the alcohols also form the hydrogen bonding since hydrogen is attached to the oxygen. These are all come under the category of the molecular compounds. No doubt polar molecular compounds. They are polar molecular compounds. At the same time, that is, they have the ability to establish the hydrogen bonding. Intermolecular hydrogen bonding is possible in this case. Therefore, that is, molecular solids are further classified into 3 types. So, molecular solid means it may be a non-polar molecular solid that is made up of non-polar molecules. It may be made up of polar molecules. That is, and third case, that is the molecular solids where molecule can establish the hydrogen bonding. That is hydrogen bonding molecular solids. This is the rough classification of, that is the solids basically classified into 4 types, and molecular solids based on the nature of the molecules, the polarity of the molecules, that is behavior of the molecules, or intermolecular attractions between the intermolecular attractions. The molecular solids are further classified into 3 types, that is non-polar molecular solids, polar molecular solids, hydrogen bonding molecular solids. Now, and let us see what are the properties and how they are arranged. This is the case. So, now I am going to discuss about each category of that is the crystalline solids. I told you, for our convenience, crystalline solids are classified into 4 types based on the nature of the constituent particles. Right. First one is the molecular solid. So type of solid here. See, I already given here list of this thing properties. Type of solid. So 4 types of solids: molecular solids, ionic solids, metallic solids, covalent solids. The second one is the constituent particles. What are the constituent particles? That is, the solid is, crystalline solid is made up of what type of particles? So that is constituent particles. And nature of the forces. See, while discussing the introductory part of the solid state, that is, in the solid state, the material, the constituent particles are experiencing the strong attractions. The attractions are, intermolecular attractions are more than that of that is thermal energy. Therefore, that is the molecules held, that is in a fixed position, they can't move from one place to other place. Attractions, that is in the solid state, speciality of the solid state, the important characteristic property of the solid state is, that is strong intermolecular attractions are existing. Very strong intermolecular attractions are existing between the material particles, constituent particles. What type of forces are present? In molecular solid, what category of this one? The ionic solids and metallic solids, what type of forces are existing? In covalent solids, what type of forces are existing? Nature of the attractive forces in each case, and physical nature of the solid, soft or hard. The resultant solid is it hard solid or soft solid? So stronger the attractions, hard solid. Weaker the attractions between the material particles, loosely connected each other, it becomes porous, it will be soft like your, that is a chalk. Attractions plays an important role. The hardness of the solid depends on that is the nature of the attraction, the strength of the attractions, degree of the attractions between the material particles. And now, electrical conductance. Whether they conduct the electricity or not. Will it act as a conductor or insulator? Electrical behavior. And next one is the melting point. So that is, and every solid has its own melting point. Yesterday we discussed about that's the other class. The last class we discussed about the melting point of the crystalline solid. Every crystalline solid has a sharp melting point. I am not talking about the high or low. Every solid has its own sharp melting point. So whereas amorphous, if you come to the amorphous, it melts over a range of temperature. Not at the fixed temperature, but crystalline solids have the fixed melting points. So now we are talking about whether the melting points are low or high. That we are taking into consideration. And the example for each one. So now we are taking the 4 types of solids and we are discussing about that is different characteristic properties of these solids. That is, and type of solid, constituent particles involved, that is nature of the attractions between the constituent particles, that is physical nature of the solid, that is soft or hard, that is electrical properties of that solid material, solid crystalline material, is it an insulator or conductor, and melting point, that is particularly, it is not giving the absolute melting point of the system, that is all solids will not have the same melting point, low or high, that is example for each category, right? First I am taking the molecular solids. I defined many times. The molecular solids are, that is molecular crystalline solids are made up of molecules. They are further classified into the 3 types based on the polarity. That is molecular solids where the molecules are non-polar molecules. No dipoles. And molecular solids where the what molecules are polar. Molecular solids, that is the polar molecules, but also establish the hydrogen bonding. Hydrogen bonding is different. Hydrogen bonding. So non-polar molecular solids, polar molecular solids, hydrogen bonding molecular solids. In all the molecular solids, the constituent particles are the molecules. Anything. Constant particles are molecule. They may be non-polar molecules or they may be polar molecules. And the nature of the attractions. So between the molecules, the attractions are normally weak. Molecular attractions are weak compared to the ionic attractions, compared to the attractions between the metal ions, metal atoms, metal bonding, and compared to the covalent solids. Here, that is, in case of the first case, in non-polar solids, that is no polarity on the, that is, they are no polarity at all. So when the charge is not separated, that is, the poor attractions are non-polar molecules without any charge separation. They are non-polar molecules are, that is, you take the anything that is nitrogen or iodine. This is iodine. I am taking this molecular compound. This is the electron cloud is uniformly dispersed. Or if you do not agree with me, this is the electron cloud is uniformly dispersed in the molecule. Here and here is electron density is same, uniformly dispersed, no charge separation. If the electron density on this center is more and this center is less, then what happens? That is and where the electron density is more, that part gets the negative charge and other part gets the positive charge. Uniform distribution because of the equal electronegativities. Therefore, it is a non-polar molecule. So, what is the source for the attractions? What type of attractions are existing here? What type of attraction? In non-polar molecules, London forces are existing. Dispersion forces, they are called as the dispersion process. That is, induced dipoles. Instantaneous induced dipoles are generated. See, what is the meaning of the London forces? The London is not the London. It is not the UK, London. So, the name of the scientist is London. So, he proposed that type of attractions, therefore, they are called as the London forces. These are also called, can also called as the induced dipoles. See, this is the molecule. This is the molecule where, I am taking the molecule, not the atom. Molecule where electron cloud is uniformly dispersed, no charge separation. And this is another atom in the material. Another atom. Here also uniformly substituted. So, two molecules I have taken. Both the cases, that is, electron density is same and uniformly dispersed. But when they come each closer to each other, what happens? That is, one gets the this is a negative charge, that is symmetrically distributed. That is, the cloud is dispersed, the cloud is disturbed. Nucleus of the one is acting on the nucleus of the, let me write over the second molecule. This is positive, this is negative. Deformation of, deforming the cloud, electronic cloud. So, why it happened? What is the reason? It is induced one. That is why when it comes to this, with its nucleus, it is influencing the cloud, electronic cloud of this. Therefore, the cloud is moving this side towards this side, and positive charge that the nucleus is moving this side. Now, a sort of weak attractions are established. When they come closer, this situation is arise. When they move away from each other, again that is uniformly dispersed. That is charge separated is disappeared. This is the induced polarity. This side positive charge, this side negative charge, positive, negative, positive, negative. Induced polarity. So, due to the induced polarity generated between the non-polar molecules is called as the dispersion forces, dispersion attractive forces or London forces. This is seen in case of that is non-polar molecules. When the two hydrogen molecules come closer to each other, that is due to the London forces, that is the attractions are existing between the two hydrogen molecules. One, in the both the molecule polarity is generated, positive. If they move away, polarity is disappear. Come again closer to this one, that is the dispersion is affected, the distribution of the electrons are affected, again polarity is generated. So they are called as the London forces or dispersion forces, very weak forces. So therefore, these are very weak forces I am telling you. That is because when the forces are weak between the material particles, that is soft solid. Forces are strong, it is a hard solid. It is soft solid. That is, it acts as it's a molecular species, hydrogen or anything that is here the word many species are hydrogen, argon, whatever it is, they are all insulators. For to show the word conductance, the ionic movement is required, charge movement is required. There is no charge species at all. So they are insulators. All molecular solids are insulators. And melting point depends on the intermolecular attractions between the material particles in the solid state, crystalline solid, very weak attractions. Melting points are very low. They are almost argon, hydrogen, nitrogen, these three are existing in the gaseous state at room temperature. Very low temperature condition, it has to be cooled to the water, very low temperature condition in order to convert into this one. The iodine also, that is sublimable compound. So whatever it is, it's a molecular solid, that the iodine molecules are present, S8 and all these things, you can take the example. They are all insulators, that is experiencing the London forces. So we introduce a new type of molecular attractions, molecular forces, intermolecular forces known as the London forces or dispersion forces or induced dipoles. The second one is so example is, these are come under the category of the first category, A. So argon, hydrogen, all these things. Now you come to and you can take the word carbon dioxide also there. That is polar molecular solids. That is where in the molecule, the poles are separated. A molecule to be a polar molecule, the bonds must be formed between the two dissimilar atoms having the considerable electronegativity difference. So that is HCl, sulfur dioxide, P2O5. They are like this. They are all the molecular species, but they are made up of all molecular compounds. But the bonds are they are connected each other to the covalent bond, but polarity is generated. That is, dipoles are separated. H is inherently H has the positive charge, Cl has the partial negative charge, H has the partial positive charge. That is, polarity generated. The polarity is responsible for the dipole moment. Therefore, that is dipole attractions. This is the hydrogen, HCl, here negative charge, here positive charge, here HCl, this is positive charge, this is a negative charge, this is the attractions between the hydrogen and the chlorine. Anything you can take this one, and say sort of attractions are generated between these things. That is HBr, that is HBr. Not only HBr, partial negative charge, partial inherently, always not induced. Inherently, that is a polar bond. The charge is present. Now the attractions are established between the oppositely charged sides, that is negatively charged bromine and positively charged hydrogen of the other molecule is established. This is called as the, that is hydrogen, this is called as the dipole attractions. Dipole attractions. And the next one is the third category, dipole attractions. They are also soft materials. That is like first category, little they may be the stronger attractions. As the strength of the intermolecular attractions increases, that is the hardness increases. Compared to this little hard, but they are come under the category of, that is the molecular compounds, insulators. Boiling point is melting point is low. The HCl, sulfur dioxide, P2O5 all come under the category of this. Now third category of the molecular compounds are that is molecular compounds. The solid is made up of molecules only. Remember, the solid is made up of molecules only. And polar molecules that too. Water is a polar molecule, ammonia is a polar molecule, HF is a polar molecule. That is methyl alcohol is a polar molecule. All are polar molecules. There are polar molecules anali ante that to say the word it is a polar molecule, there must be a polar bond. And in that bond, the partial positive and negative charges should be separated. But these are all come under the category of this third category come under the category of the polar molecules. But the extra thing is, in addition to polarity, they are able to establish the hydrogen bonding. These do not have the ability to establish the hydrogen bonding. Hydrogen bonding is a intermolecular attraction. Through the hydrogen bonding, two molecules can establish the sort of attractions. So here, that is it is a polar molecule water, ammonia, HF. That is, in addition to that, through the dipoles they establish the attractions, and through the positively charged hydrogen, that is a water molecule can establish the hydrogen bonding with the negatively charged oxygen atom of the another molecule. Therefore, these are that is molecules are the second category molecule, third category molecules. All are molecules. That is what are the attractions between them? What are the intermolecular attractions? What sort of attractions are existing? That is here dipole attractions as well as hydrogen bonding. Strictly speaking, the bond is one where the pair of electrons are involved. Electrons should involve. This we are calling it as the hydrogen bonding. So it is we are calling it as the bond, but this is the bond where the electrons are not involved. Say positively charged hydrogen of the one molecule and more electronegative atom of the other molecule, they establish that is weak attractions. They are little stronger than your dipole attractions. So in such molecules, what are the attractive forces? That is dipole attractions as well as in addition to that hydrogen bonding. Due to this, the strength, so attractions between the material particles are increased. So that is the molecular compound should have the ability to form that is hydrogen bonding. So when it forms and to form the hydrogen bonding, the hydrogen should attach to the more electronegative atom, more commonly oxygen, nitrogen and that is a fluorine. So these three compounds are taken. So hydrogen bonding is possible. So you know that is and this is it has a negative charge, it has the positive charge. So This is the another molecule of oxygen, water molecule, negative charge. This is the positive charge. So here attractions are established. Dipole-dipole attractions that are established between the oxygen of this and hydrogen of this. This is called as the hydrogen bonding. That is, this sort of hydrogen bonding is existing. So in the other case, very strong bond, that is ammonia. Positively charged. This is negatively charged. This is negatively charged. Hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen. This is hydrogen. This is negative charge. Attractions are established. So this is these are all strong bonds. Are hydrogen bonding is stronger than that of the your dipole-dipole attractions. Due to the collective effect of the dipole-dipole attractions and hydrogen bonding, that is intermolecular attractions are little stronger. See, in these molecules, you see, so London forces are very, very weak intermolecular forces. Dipole attractions are positive, negative attractions, that is little better. Hydrogen bonding is still further, that is stronger attractions. So this is non-polar solid to polar solids, polar solid to the hydrogen bonding molecular solid. See what is happening? Gradually, that is the intermolecular attractions are increasing. That is here this is soft, this is also really soft, but this is hard. You take the ice. In ice, it is a solid made up of H2O. H2O solid, that is, which is known as the commonly known as the ice. The molecules are experiencing the strong. If you have to use the word force to break the word, that is a crystalline ice piece. Crush the ice, you have to apply the force. So attractions are strong. So therefore these are little hard. So from here to here, the hardness is increasing. Intermolecular attractions are increasing. Right? And all our molecular solids are for conductance, to allow, to permit the electricity to flow through it is the conductance. That is, there must be charged particles, ions, there must be movable ions, movable charged particles, no charged particles. Therefore the melting point is low, this is little high, relatively high. So that is, and examples are, this is the water, ammonia, those come under ethyl alcohol, all these come under the category of the first category. Next, ionic solids. So you know that about the what ionic solids, where the what ions are. The ionic solids. Ions are the constituent particles, cation and anion are the positively charged cation and negatively charged anion are the constituent particles. The crystalline solid is the made up of, that is, positively charged ions and negatively charged ions. The such pieces are called as the, that is, such crystalline solids are called as the ionic solids, ions. So attractions are existing between the ions. That is, what type of attractions are? That is the attractions that are present between the, that is, oppositely charged ions or oppositely charged ions are called as the electrostatic attractions and coulombic attractions. So here they are very strong attractions. So that is, in the ionic solid, the constituent particles are experiencing the very strong, that is, interionic attractions, very strong. They are held together through the, what type of forces? Coulombic forces. That is electrostatic forces. Electrostatic forces are very, very strong forces. As the attractions between the material particles increases, then what happens? The strength of that is solid becomes the hard. That is, if they are ionic solids or hard solids. I think no explanation is required. So electrical properties are concerned. That is, for electrical properties, ions are not responsible. Movable charged particles are required. The sodium chloride is made up of the sodium ion and chloride ion. It has its own lattice. The ions are trapped in the lattice. They can't move. They have the charge. They are charged particles. The movement is not possible. Therefore, it is in the solid state. It is a insulator. Insulator in the solid state, but conductors in the molten and aqueous solution. Sodium chloride is all ionic solids are insulators in the solid state because of the lattice, that is, they are held up. They can't move from one place to other place. Whereas, if you come to and molten state, if you melt it, that the lattice is collapsed, free ions are formed, they can move, translational motion is possible, movable ions are present. Therefore, they show that is conductance in the aqueous solution, in the solution when it is dissolved in the water. And melting point is concerned, very high melting point, because strong attractions. Strong attractions are present, high melting point. So, this is the sodium chloride, magnesium, or this is potassium nitrate. We can write any number of examples of what is there. That is, the next one is the metallic solids. So, in the metallic solids made up of the metal, normally we assume that they are made up of the metals. That is, the metallic solids are, metal is nothing but what is the structure of the metal? A solid metal. There are two components in the metal. Metal ions and free valence electrons. Metal atom exists in that is free ionic form. It exists in the ionic form. Therefore, that is metal ion and electrons. That is, the metal loses its see, metallic solids, metal ion. If you take see in the metal, any metal, sodium or anything, you take any metal, that is iron or anything, that is metal is converted into that is metal ion, and these are the valency electrons, readily loose. So what we say is, the metal is not existing in the atomic form. In the given metal sheet or anywhere, the metal part is existing in that is cationic form, ion form, metal ion form. This is, and now this is the metal ion N plus, anything it may be 2 plus or 1 plus or whatever it is, metal ion, that is N plus. And this is N plus. These are all the metal ions, and electrons are, that is embedded. Electrons are forming there is a pool of electrons which is negatively charged, and that is electrons are, that is metal ions are embedded in the pool of electrons. Electron, valence electrons, electrically neutral, but N plus, like this, that is electron. This is the sea of electrons, and metal ions are embedded. Here, this is a structure. So metal is composed of metal ions, positively charged metal ions and free electrons. Free electrons. Therefore, this is called as the, that is, metal ions present in this system is called as the, are called as the kernel. That is forming the kernel. They are called as the kernel. That is, metal ions are embedded in the pool of valence electrons. So electrically neutral. This is the case. So that means this is indicating that the valence electrons are not under the control of the metal. Complete control of the metal. They are free. They are already lost. Forming a sea of electrons, pool of electrons, that is metal ion with their positive charge are embedded and neutralizing their charge by establishing the attractions with the electrons. So valence electrons are free to move from one place to other place. Metal ions are fixed and valence electrons are free to move from one place to other place within the system. So this is the, that is, explanation for the, that is the structure of the metals. They are malleable and ductile. They can be drawn into the sheets and they can be drawn into the wires. So whatever it is, free electrons are there. That is, electrons that are present there. That is the, now here metallic solid, metal ions and electrons are the, this one. Now this type of attractions are called as, this is a story. This type of attractions existing between the metal ions and electrons in the given metal is called as the metallic bond. In case of metallic solids, metallic bond is existing. But what is metallic bond? I explained. That is the metal ions and free valence electrons. A sort of attraction. That is called as the metallic bond. It's a strong bond. So metal ion bonding. What type of attractions are existing? Metal bonding. Metal bonding or the metallic bonding is existing here. Metal bonding is existing. If they are very strong, bonds are very strong. Metals are very hard. That is, as the number of valence electrons increases, the number of metallic bonds increases, attractions increases, hardness increases. Now, so free electrons are there. The electrons can flow from one end to other end. That is, if the electrons are supplied, that is, they move. Due to the presence of the mobile charged particles, electrons, the metals are the good conductors. They are conductors. In the solid state as well as the eddy state, you take, they are this one. And they have the high melting point. That is, you can take the any metal as the, that is gold. I wrote the what is 3-4 examples. You can take the any metal, gold, copper, silver, iron, all these things come under the category of the, and that is metallic solids. Metallic solids. Now, last one is the, that is covalent solids. Covalent solids. See, in the covalent solids are basically made up of atoms. Graphite. See, covalent solids, they are also called as the network solids. They have the three-dimensional network. There that is the atoms are not, discrete atoms are not existing. This is made up of the atoms of the particular element, but these atoms are connected each other through the covalent bonds. Atoms, covalent bonds, very hard, insulators, very high. That is, atoms are the graphite. You see, if we take the graphite, structure of the graphite. Now, what happens, you see, carbon, made up of atoms. Atoms are linked each other through, that is not London forces, not Van der Waals forces, or not any other thing, that is the they are connected to the covalent bond. So this is, carbon, this is carbon, this is carbon. Each carbon is connected to the 4 other carbon atoms, and this is further connected to the, and this is carbon, this is carbon, 4 bonds. See, and around each carbon you see 4 other atoms are attached to this. That is a head carbon. This is a carbon. To this another carbon is attached. So 1, 2, 3, 4. See, this type of arrangement is continuing. This is 4. Around this again 4 bonds. 3-dimensional network is established. So these are all covalent solids are made up of atoms, and atoms are connected to each other through covalent bond, regular classes, not weak bond. Electrons are invested to form the bond. Covalent bonds are connected. To make this carbon free, see, to make this carbon free, you have to cut about 4 bonds which are around it. They are all covalent bonds. Same thing is continuing. This type of solids are called as the network solids. Silicon, same way. Silicon atoms like this one, and graphite, each carbon is connected to the, see, this carbon is connected to the 3 other carbon atoms. 3 other, here 4 carbon atoms. 3 other carbon atoms, and forming a 2-dimensional sheet, hexagonal sheet. Hexagonal arrangement. This is the, again, this is the case. And each carbon contains the 1 electron. sp2 hybridized, 1 electron is present on each carbon atom. That is only out of 4 valence electrons, 3 are used and 1 is present. That is, this is one sheet. The 2-dimensional sheet is formed. Sheet-like structure is formed. That is within the 2-dimensional sheet. That is, the carbon atoms are linked to each other through the covalent bond. And between the sheets, this is one sheet. Like this. So now this is every carbon of this sheet contains the free electron that establish the attractions with this. This is like this, and this is attraction is established. Attractions are established. That is it has the layer structure. Graphite has the layer structure. In each layer, n number of carbon atoms are arranged in the hexagonal fashion. Each carbon atom forms 3 covalent bonds with the 3 other carbon atoms, and each carbon contains the 1 valence electron, free electron. Therefore, it acts as this one. Through this electron, it can establish the one sheet can establish the attractions with the other sheet. Therefore, it is a covalent or network solid, but it has a layered structure. Therefore, the attractions between the layers are very, very weak. Very, very weak. They are therefore it acts as a conductor due to the free electrons, and as well as it acts as a lubricant. That is, when the pressure is applied, that is, it slides. That it acts as a lubricant, and your graphite pencil, that is lead pencil, is nothing but which looks like a lead. The lead looks like a lead. That is a lead pencil. That is that works based on this lubricant action. That is the layer structure of the graphite. So this is the graphite and diamond, silicon carbide. That is, silicon and carbon are arranged in that is the network solid. The silicon carbide, silicon dioxide, that is sand. All the cases, that is their joint molecules are formed. One unit is connected with the other unit through the covalent bonds. Therefore, they are called, these are connected through the covalent bonds. That is, structural units or constant particles are connected through the covalent bonds, and very, very hard. Diamond is very hard substance. That is, but here the graphite is not the hard substance, is the exception. It's a soft, and that's a, and it acts as a, all are, this is a insulators. They are insulators, no charged part except graphite. But graphite is a conductor. Because of that valence leftover valence electron, it acts as a, that is the conductor. The all others are examples are the, that is insulators. Very high melting point. They have the very high melting point. That is examples are, that is diamond, graphite, SiO2 silicon dioxide, Si silicon element of silicon, that is chips, silicon chips, that is silicon carbide, carborundum. That is, these are all the examples of this one, that is covalent solids. With this we finished the, that is the introductory part of the solid state, and second one is the classification of the solids based on the, that is arrangement pattern of the, that is atoms in the, that is constant particles in the solid, and that is the classification of the solids based on the, that is nature of the constant particles, So with this, that is first part is over, very easy part. These two videos are very easy, just it is informative, and the solid state starts now. Now we go into the structure. We peep into the inside the solid and evaluate the structure of the, we try to understand the, that is the arrangement pattern and structure of the solids.